All right. The next up, we got one of the most popular sports teams in all the land of football. Just a team that's had a lot of success. Definitely had their downs, of course, but they've had their ups. But still one of the most popular teams in the NFL. That's the San Francisco 49ers. They were established June 4th, 1946. They've been, um, well, they've been together as a team for 72 years. First season 1946, they played in Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. They're headquartered in Marie P. DiPortolo Sports Center in Santa Clara. They were a part of the All-America Football Conference from 1946 to 1949 in the Western Division from 1946 to 1949. Have been in the National Football League since 1950. They went to the Coastal Division from 1950 to 1970. And they have been in the NFC since 1970. Most importantly in the NFC West since 1970. So not much has changed for them. Their team colors are red and gold. Their mascot is Sourdough Sam. The chairman is Denise DeBartolo York. They also have John York as the co-chairs. CEO is Jed York. President Al Guido. General Manager John Lynch. And head coach Kyle Shanahan. They've been the 49ers since they've been established. Team nickname is the Niners. They have 5 championships, all of them Super Bowls. They won Super Bowl in 1981, 1984, 1988, 1989, and 1994. They've been to the NFC Championship game, or they've won the NFC 6 times: 1981, 1984, 1988, 1989, 1994, and 2012. And they've won the NFC West in 1970, 1971, 1972, 1981, 1983, 1984, 1986 to 1990, 1992 to 1995, 1997, 2002, 2011, and 2012. And they've been to the playoffs 26 times. In the All-American Football Conference in 1949, and in the NFL 1957, 1970 through 72, 1981, 1983 through 1980. 1986, 1987, 1988, 1989, 1990, 1992 to 1998, 2001, 2002, and 2011 to 2013. Home fields, they play in Kazar Stadium from 1946 to 1970. Went to Candlestick Park, have played in Candlestick Park from 1971 to 2013. They played one game after the earthquake in 1989 at Stanford Stadium. And since 2014, I played in Levi Stadium. Fantastic and very large history of football. There's a lot of success. There's a lot of Hall of Famers. There's just a lot. So overall, this is what the 49ers are, and this is what they're going to be represented as a powerful team. And they haven't made the playoffs in a long time, so 5 years of that. Hopefully they can end that drought this year, but we'll have to see that. Obviously, like we always start off the QB and having pretty much, I'd say, behind Tom Brady, he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Joe Montana is going to help a lot already. The fact that you have a Hall of Fame QB in your midst, perfect. 8-time Pro Bowl, 3-time All-Pro, 2-time MVP, 4-time Super Bowl champion. 1986 Comeback Player of the Year, 1989 Burt Bell Award, won the 1989 AP Offensive Player of the Year, a guy that threw for over 40,000 yards, a guy that's had over 250 plus touchdowns, a man that's had multiple fourth quarter comebacks, multiple game winning drives, had a record of 117 wins and only 47 losses. He barely lost, and a guy that got to the playoffs many times, won 4 rings with that, was always achieving something, and just everything about him is what you wanted. He could run, he can catch, he can throw the ball, he was clutch already, of course, and he was a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. A 3-time Super Bowl MVP. And, I already announced what else he won, but this is a guy that had his fair share of awards. At one point was considered the best quarterback of all time. Fast forward, 10, 11 years. Tom Brady proves it why he's the best quarterback pretty much alive and all time. But Joe Montana is right there, so having Joe Montana to start off your entire team, that's impressive.
Much about him, but he's a Hall of Famer. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler and he's a 2-time All-Pro. He played for the 49ers 14 years and in Baltimore for 2 years. Played in San Francisco from 1948 all the way to 1960, and then his last year of his career in 1963. This is a guy that racked over 9,000 plus rushing yards, carried the ball over almost 2,000 times, had 71 touchdowns. His average game was 53.7 yards, but he's a fullback. He also had 260 receptions for over 2,000 yards and 12 receiving touchdowns. So this is a guy that's has a lot of experience, low-key like a dangerous weapon that people can use. He's a part of the all 1950s and 60s team, if you notice. But this is just a guy overall that it's low-key going to be fantastic for them because they don't just have Frank Gore. Spoiler alert, that will be the running back. But Joe Perry, the fact that what he's been able to do in his career, I think, is going to benefit San Francisco a lot. And it's going to be pretty scary to have him at fullback already. This offense is looking kind of good, and I'm not even halfway there.
All right. Now to the running back, it's Frank Gore. Frank Gore is the all-time leading rusher in 49er history. He's the man that's right now 35 years old and still running. He's the guy that has over 14,000 rushing yards, and is just continuously making his, case for the Hall even greater. He's just been able to run for so long and be so efficient for so long. So that's why he's just one of the greatest running backs to ever play. Very, very underappreciated. Now, Frank Gore, as much as he's been underappreciated, again, he's 35 years old, he plays for Indianapolis, but this is a guy that had many thousand-yard seasons with the 49ers, and a guy that's been able to play many games, 196 games that he played, 182 games that he started, ran the ball over 3,000 times, again, has 14+ thousand rushing yards, over 70 rushing touchdowns, as well as having 443 receptions for over 3,600 yards and 17 receiving touchdowns. Overall, equivalents to 70,000 plus yards of scrimmage, and he fumbled 45 times. That's not terrible for his career so far. In the playoffs, again, he was able to play in 8 of them. He had 646 career rushing yards there, 5 touchdowns there. He had 18 receptions for over 100 yards, and fumbled once, but overall hasn't had the ability to play many games in the playoffs since the 49ers and the Colts. Well, they're just bad teams, right? But looking at it, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, and he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. So, Frank Gore in the backfield along with Joe Perry, that's such a good duo. And I think just having that running game already, Joe Montana has less to worry about, which means he can be even better, and this offense could be dangerous. All right, now, you want a fantastic running back, you have a fantastic fullback, you have a fantastic running offense pretty much, right? And you have one of the best QBs of all time. What do you need other than that? Well, how can the receivers be? Well, how about having the best NFL player of all time, / well, it's debatable, but / he's the best receiver of all time, Jerry Rice. Having Joe at Jerry, of course, again, right? Now, Jerry Rice is a Hall of Famer. He's a 13-time Pro Bowler. He's a 10-time All-Pro. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's been the Offensive Player of the Year many times. He's been the Burt Bell Award winner many times. We'll get back to all of those, but Jerry Rice overall getting drafted in 1985 from I would say a pretty small school in Mississippi Valley State, coming out, and he came out with a bang and he ended with a bang, and his entire career has been just fantastic. A guy that played 300 plus games, started in 280 plus games. He had a career of
having 1,549 receptions, which is the most of all time. He has the most receiving yards, 22,895. He has 197 receiving touchdowns, which I believe is the most right now all time still. He also has rushed the ball 87 times for 600 plus yards and even 10 rushing touchdowns. Overall, yards of scrimmage wise, 23,540. That's crazy. And he fumbled 27 times in his career. That's not terrible, especially from a guy that played for 21 years. So that's like a fumble a year, right? In the playoffs, excelled many times. 29 games that he played and started, he had 151 career postseason receptions for over 2,000 yards, 22 receiving touchdowns. So, overall, fantastic. Fumbled 3 times. Even had a share of having passing attempts before. He's a guy that does it all. He's fast, and he's the best receiver of all time. Again, 10 times he's been an All-Pro first team, 13 Pro Bowls. And on top of that, he was able to win Super Bowl MVP. He's been on the list of all 1980s, 1990s team. He was a part of the 1985 NFL All-Rookie team. He's been the Offensive Player of the Year twice and the Burt Bell Award winner once in 1987. Now, like I said, first in receptions, first in receiving yards, first in receiving touchdowns. Overall in touchdowns, he's number one. He's number one in yards from scrimmage. So overall, he is a guy that you, of course, want. And like I said, you can't cover him. And that's going to be deadly. Now, to even make it more hard, how about having another Hall of Fame wide receiver? He's a Hall of Famer this year. So congrats to Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is one of the most entertaining human beings ever to play in the league, and just an entertaining athlete, but as well as just an overall outstanding player. And having him with Jerry Rice, it's going to be, they played together before, but having him and this offense put together is just, this offense is so good. This offense is really good out of the 49ers. But anyway, Terrell Owens, he's a Hall of Famer. 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, nicknamed T.O. Some people said he was a drama queen. Some people just said, he was just an entertaining guy, and he was. Now, he was able to play in over 200 games. He was able to have over 1,000 receptions. He was able to have over 15,000 receiving yards, 153 receiving touchdowns. Even ran the ball for over 251 yards in his career, and he fumbled only 11 times. He's a big guy. He's strong. He's really ripped. Ripped-ass dude. So Jerry Rice is, just the underdog, really good guy. It's not really built. Terrell Owens is built. Terrell Owens is huge. He's massive. And he's going to prove that there. And in the playoffs, he's had memories that will last a lifetime. He's made some legendary catches. He's had some legendary touchdowns. He can play football in the clutch, for sure. He's done it all over the place. And again, he's even a part of the All-2000s team. He helped Philly. He helped Dallas. He helped anywhere he was going. He helped them out. So overall, Terrell Owens, having him in there is deadly. Closing the weapons out, how about having the tight end be Vernon Davis, a very strong and, just a big tight end that you can rely on to just get the football to, Vernon Davis is a Super Bowl champion, but he's also a 2-time Pro Bowler. Overall, he has been so great out there in the Bay. He played for Denver. He played for DC for a little bit. I believe he's retired. I'll have to check, of course. But this is a guy that's racked up over 500 plus receptions, over 7,000 receiving yards. He has 60 receiving touchdowns to his name. Am I saying that he's a Hall of Famer? Maybe not. It's a stretch, but I mean, he's not going to be not put up for that ballot. I think he's put some pretty good numbers in his career. He's been, pretty exciting to watch, and he got to the Pro Bowl twice. So there's something. But yeah, Vernon Davis, get him to where he once was, and where he definitely can thrive. Having him and the ability of not having so much pressure on him and having just Jerry Rice and Owens there, he's going to have bigger numbers, and just this offense in general is going to be, I would say, one of the most dangerous offenses that I've ever made in this all-time series. So, all right, now to be an excelling offense, you need to have a really good line. You need someone to protect you. How about first having Joe Staley as the tackle, 6'5" monster, 6-time Pro Bowler, a guy that's really reliable. 158 games that he's played and started. He really misses starts. He's there, and he does not allow sacks easy. So overall, the fact that he's here, the fact that he is going to be protecting Joe. I know Joe's going to be loving having Joe Staley there. He's one of the most underrated left tackles of all time, and yeah, he's going to do super well. Now, right next to Joe Staley, we have Guy McIntyre. Guy McIntyre played from 1984 to 1996. He was a 3-time Super Bowl champion. A lot of them, obviously, well, all of them are with the 49ers. And he was also a 5-time Pro Bowler. Played in 186 games, started in 125. Played in a lot of games, but starting-wise, he didn't start much. So that's going to be possibly a question. But overall, I mean, don't question the way he plays football. I think he can be a very fantastic player. He's been to the Pro Bowl before, so definitely don't question that. And he's a big guard, so overall, it's going to do well. All right, at the center position, we have Jesse Sapolu, who is a Samoan player, 4-time Super Bowl champion in the 80s with the Niners. He even got to the Pro Bowl twice, in 1993 and 1994. A guy that's just going to be a reliable person over there for you. A guy that's played in multiple playoff games because of the success that they had in the 80s and 90s. And, a tough guy that you want on your team, and a big center. So at the right guard spot, we're going to have a very mean mugging, but also just when he's out on the football field, he lays it all out there. Great person overall, but when he's playing football, he plays football. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Pro Bowler, all in the 80s there, and part of that 80s dynasty there. So he is a part of a really reliable line. So overall, the fact that he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, the fact that he's been on the 1976 NFL rookie team, all 1980s team. No, he is not a Hall of Famer, but you know what? He was able to do his best, and let me tell you, his ultimate best with making sure that Joe had enough time and making sure that the running game was pretty great. Honestly, do they have the best running game I've seen? Probably not, but their running backs weren't bad. And I can tell you that their offensive line in the 80s was fantastic. So I would say another 80s lineman on this list. I think it's going to be pretty good. I think they're going to do really well. And to finish off the line, right tackle will be Harris Barton. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, as you know, from the 80s dynasty there. 2-time All-Pro and a 1-time Pro Bowler. The guy that was drafted in 1987. Played for the 49ers all of his career from 1987 to 1996. 138 games that he played, 134 starts. Just very valuable to the team. 1987 NFL rookie team. And just a guy that's very reliable, was a part of, like I said, the 80s dynasty, so he knows how to win games. And I think they're going to be fine, honestly, with this entire line. I think they have enough to cover and enough to block for Joe. Joe's already a fantastic QB, one of the best of all time as it is. So I think he's going to do really well, and I think everything's going to be set, man. Honestly, I think Joe and this offense is going to be lighting up opponents a lot. So, be ready for that.